This episode of Joyride is being brought to you by Highbank. Highbank is a proud Columbus-based distillery. Look for Highbank spirits at your local liquor store and favorite bars around the city. By purchasing Highbank spirits, you're supporting and drinking local. Drink local, drink Highbank.
You're listening to Joyride, a podcast for people who love cars. Now sit back and enjoy the ride.
Here we are again.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
All right. What do we got on the docket today?
Well, we're going to talk about a few things, and we have our next very special guest.
We do have this guy.
Yes.
Coming in.
Yeah.
He's here, actually.
He's here now. He's here already.
He hummed. This was supposed to... Like true production studio, you were supposed to come in, right? They don't know that we're all sitting at a card table in a basement, so...
I'm in your sound room on the other side. I can't even see you guys yet.
Jerry, can you dial down his mic?
I am that man.
This is
audio theater.
In light of a new episode.
Yes.
New things you saw this week. What do you got?
Well, first off, let's introduce our guest because he might not be able to contain himself during the first part of this episode and interject. We have with us our friend that we've known for our entire lives, basically.
Yeah.
The both of us.
The conscious lives that we've had.
Yes.
Yes.
This man.
It's a friend, a father.
Husband. Designer.
Yeah. Master distiller.
Joining us is Mr. Adam Hines, the head distiller of Highbank Co.
And our sponsor.
Yes.
I made payment today.
Thank you for that.
Thanks for having me. I feel honored and I'm excited.
Well, we're happy to have you here.
Yeah. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
We are going to get into some shit, I'm sure.
This week, I was having a text exchange with a friend of mine, and he turned me on to something I had not heard about before. And it's this company called 612 Auto Works. Are you guys familiar with these guys at all?
Never heard of it.
612autoworks.com. Works spelled with an X. And what they do is you bring your Hellcat to them, and they turn it into a 69 Charger.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Do you see that?
Oh.
So you get the modern interior of the Hellcat.
Oh, you're kidding.
But the exterior it's not exactly like a 69, but it's really damn close.
Oh, yeah.
It looks really, really good.
Oh, wow.
So one of my friends, he turned me on to this because his father is doing this to his Hellcat.
Do you know what it costs?
He wasn't exactly specific on it, and I think he said $90K, but he was a little confused.
In addition to the Hellcat?
I'm not sure. He was not doing very well at communicating, and there are no prices up on their website.
Like this looks like they take legit body parts from
and
the old car, and
they fabricate it on and refinish it and everything. I mean, it looks.
Oh man.
Yeah,
that is cool.
So it's like a weird version of resto modding.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because you're still.
It's like reverse resto mod.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's funny that you bring up resto mod this week because I follow a couple different people and they have been talking about resto modding on their channels and platforms and stuff. And it kind of makes me mad because I've been into resto mods like 3 years ago. It started like piquing my interest and now it's cool.
It's been cool forever.
Yeah, well, I made it cool.
Yeah. Oh, you did. Okay. I'll believe it.
I saw a guy that had a 65 Mustang Fastback.
Nice.
5-speed. But it was slightly resto mod-ish. Like, it didn't have like a full-blown Singer Porsche type resto mod. But it had a 5-liter V8 from a 93 Mustang. A couple other switches and stuff and gauges inside that were more modern. New brakes. Still didn't have power steering, right? So, you know, like...
And that's the thing with this is you get all those modern amenities. You get Bluetooth, and you don't have to do anything weird with the dash. I mean, because it's all just normal Hellcat stuff.
But how do you guys feel about that? Would you prefer that? Because
I think it depends.
You have to understand too. This is super cool right now, right? in 10 years, that interior is going to be dated.
That's true. Right, and that is something that's nice about the Restomod stuff is it's dated anyway. It's
So,
kind of like,
for me,
vintage.
A resto mod, I will always pick a resto mod over a true restored classic car if it falls under this definition for me, right? When I think resto mod, I want everything to look factory, but I want all the mechanical and electrical components
To work.
to be a modern
new,
car.
to be a modern car. So
Yeah.
I want modern suspension, modern brakes, modern, engine, transmission,
Fuel
drivetrain.
economy.
Fuel economy, with what I would do probably wouldn't matter. But
So you're thinking
4 or
just
5.
around town. You're not thinking road trips with this thing at all or anything
No,
like that?
no, it's still
Okay.
a weekend cruiser for me.
Okay.
Right before I moved down here, I was talking to my dad because I really want like a late 60s C10 Chevy pickup truck. 2-door, 8-foot bed, 5-window, right cab. And I want to build it on, a GMC, platform. I want a brand new, Chevy crate engine, new drivetrain. I want to be able to tow it and use it like you and I use our trucks today.
Right.
I just want it to sit inside of a completely classic car shell, right? And I always thought that would be neat, and I was looking for one. We came close on buying, it was like $3,800, and then having to build it would have been whatever it would have been, and then I moved down here and it got away from us. But I always thought, like, how cool would it be to have my truck that can pull, what a brand new Chevy, do everything you do in a brand new truck in an old truck.
Well, would you do that to your 63?
I would love to. It would be way too much. I would love to put a new LS motor in it, beef up the suspension, put power steering in it.
Pete, for the longest time, was trying to convince me that it was a great idea to drop an LS motor into his 86 BMW.
I still want to do that too.
This is beginning to make more sense to me.
So when I bought,
you were gonna swap
I
the.
still am, Rob. It just hasn't happened yet. So I bought the BMW and it has 256,000 miles on it.
Right on the
We
engine,
talked-
right.
We talked about this.
Yes, yeah.
But it still works.
Well,
and
plus 200
Well, yeah,
plus.
it's stuck. So it's just greater than.
Right.
That's how I have it on the title with like a greater than symbol. But I have a hard time gutting the thing that works. Like, it
Sure.
turns on every time. It goes on the road fine. Like, so.
Yeah, but how badass would that thing sound
Oh my god! Do you
with
know
an
how fast
LS
it would be,
motor in
too?
it? Oh my gosh.
It's not that I don't disagree. It's the fact that you're going to spend like 60 grand.
No.
Yeah, you will.
No.
Oh,
You're
yeah,
so
you will.
foolish.
No.
This guy is
no,
so out of touch.
No,
no way.
Here's the thing. You're not going to do it yourself. No, you're not. You're not. You would have to replace so many things on that car.
No.
The only thing that would be original is the gas cap.
No.
Yeah. Like
How much is it original currently? It's all original, yeah?
Yeah.
So that's
100%
the,
original.
that's the other problem there too.
That's-
I could understand if it already had some things that were unoriginal on it, but
Yeah. This is
to take something that's mint and original
The
and
only
do that,
thing
but
that-
I
yeah.
respect it, by the way.
I know,
I think it's a great idea.
that's why I haven't chopped it up yet, because the
Yeah.
only thing that isn't original on it are the aftermarket
Could you-
wheels, and they're still kind of period correct. But
Could you just find another?
I-
It's an E30, right?
yeah, you could. Yeah.
Couldn't you just find another one that is
Yeah.
a little shoddy and then drop that?
or you
get it in?
find another one that's nicer, you keep that one, then you do it the one you have. Keep upgrading.
There you go. Perfect.
Maybe, but I want to get back to your cost issue because I priced this out on the E30, and I can be in and out of this thing for another $12 grand.
And then you take one turn in that
No,
car and your
no.
back end goes out on it.
No, no, the 12 grand includes a new rear differential.
Yeah.
And listen,
You doing it yourself?
no, you can turnkey the thing for 22. They you ship it to New Jersey and they ship it back to you. I'll put that in the show notes. Damn it!
There you go.
I'm gonna show you 22, and it doesn't include the tow out there. I knew it was a bad idea inviting him on the show.
No.
Guess number one. Right?
Technically, you're guess number 2.
Oh, the wife. You and her are one. You are one
we are
in
one
marriage,
person.
right? So,
Okay.
family doesn't
You're,
count.
so
either.
yes, technically
Familia.
you're external guest number 1, I guess. Technically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you
Yeah.
go.
Adam, tell us a little bit about how you found yourself to be down here distilling, designing into cars. Give us a lowdown. When did you first meet Rob?
I met Rod in kindergarten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so he
Miss Hanky.
Miss Hankey's class, baby.
Kindergarten.
Yeah.
We sat directly across from each other.
did you guys like high five immediately, or what happened?
We were friends.
Yeah. Did our parents know each
Yeah,
other? Or
I think
something
our
like
moms
that? Yeah.
our moms knew each other from something.
Shout out, mom. What's
having
up?
2 kindergartners. I mean, that's how I have friends now. My kids, I'm like, yeah, we'll hang out with their parents. That's fine.
Yeah, I remember going over to Rob's. It's probably 6th birthday or something like that in his house, playing Nerf guns in the basement. And then I didn't see Rob again for like 10 years.
Yeah. You know, that is the enigma of Rob, right? Like, he's in and out of my life.
Well, it was
chunks of time.
It was this thing where it was like we were in kindergarten together, and then we were never in any classes together. Until high school.
Yeah.
And I was like, "You're that kid." We were in kindergarten.
I remember distinctly going to your house, playing with your giant wolf of a dog, Cinnamon.
Oh, Cinnamon. Wow.
And you used to have like a computer in your basement, like an old, like just
my dad was into computers, so
and we would play
always
that game with the snake where you eat the little apples,
yes,
or beads or whatever it was.
Yeah,
beads.
Snakes eat beads, guys. Come on, we all know this is true.
So Rob was kindergarten. Pete, you were 5th grade history project.
Yeah.
My dad was the recording artist to our first video ever.
What was the history project on?
Oh yeah, give him this.
It was the Native Americans and Pilgrims or something like that.
It's so bizarre.
You still have that?
I think I might.
I think you're the one that has that.
I have the game show one too.
Yeah, and then we continued to do.
It was so popular, Rob.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We got
to do a part 2.
We got a standing ovation in 5th grade from our whole class.
Okay.
Because Adam's dad was the only person in the world that had a camcorder, apparently. And so we put this project
1994, 1995, something like that. Then the rest was history, because then we realized we lived like 12 houses away from each other in the same neighborhood. And then we started riding lawnmowers at each other's houses. And all that
It's
stuff.
the lawnmower again.
Yeah, mine was faster.
I knew he was going to do it. I knew it. You couldn't even wait. Son of a... I knew he was going to do it.
Here's the thing.
Did you guys like line up and do drag races?
Yeah, all the time. And so the thing that was funny.
I'm so mad.
Here's the thing. He had a brand new red Husqvarna or whatever that brand is lawnmower. I remember I listened to the episode.
let me
I'm
back
an
up.
avid listener, by the way. I love Joyride. Hashtag Joyride.
Let me stop you. Because it wasn't Husqvarna, but it was red. It started with an H. It was Husky, because I told you my dad always bought
the off-brand.
Yeah,
because I remember that episode of that other lawnmower that was janky that you had to like sit on, whatever. So it was this brand new lawnmower, and Pete drives it up to my house. I hop on. At the time, the lawnmower was 15 years old. John Deere.
Okay.
Right?
Good old John Deere.
This thing was
rusty.
Yeah, this thing flew.
Yeah.
It had manual gears that you had to shift into.
But
It had a clutch and gears that you had to shift into.
It was in between his legs, so it always looked like he was playing with himself. Like, what are you doing? He's like jamming it into fourth.
Like, I'm about to beat you. I would go in third, and you'd be like, yeah, and I'd like kick into the fourth, and I'd just coast right past
Too
him.
soon, rookie.
Oh man, God, I hated that too. I was so mad because I should have won. But
Do you know that tractor's still running today?
is it really?
No way.
Yes. So my mom sold it to a friend of ours that lives in
You're kidding.
Louisville, Ohio. It still runs today. He still uses
That's
it.
got to be 30 years old.
fantastic.
It was in 1985, so it's 35 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
That's when all the John Deeres, everything on that thing was steel.
Yeah.
Everything.
Like they're real John Deeres and not like Home Depot John Deeres.
Right.
now.
My dad used to pull the boat with that thing. You know that? He had a full ball on it because we parked our boat like when we built the sunroom.
Hold on a second. I'm just trying to picture the boat is out in the yard, and then we got to move it for some reason. And
Yeah, so we
not
live
not the truck, not the
well
we're gonna
because
get
you
the
couldn't,
tractor.
right? So my dad was also a car guy. That's kind of where I got this. My dad, my grandfather, all that stuff. My dad had a 4-car garage, but that wasn't enough, which I appreciate, right? So when he built a sunroom off the back of our house, he put an oversized 1-car garage underneath that sunroom because we lived on a hill.
Got it.
Yeah.
And so that oversized 1-car garage around the back is what stored we had a boat, we had a snowmobile or two. Like that's where that stuff stayed, right? Kind of my dad's toys. But you could not, if the grass was at all wet, you could not get the truck around there and pull that boat because of all the inclines and everything around the house. So it was set up for that John Deere to put a little hitch. And this was a lawn mowing John Deere. It wasn't like
it wasn't commercial.
It wasn't this commercial grade thing.
Nope.
Put a 2-inch ball on the back of it, cranked the boat down. It was a 20-foot Larson boat.
Oh my
and
gosh.
pull that thing right out all around the side of the house into the driveway.
That must
and then
have
hook
looked
it up.
like the most white trash thing in the entire. Like I get it that it works and you can't knock it, but Jesus.
The only thing that was worse than that was the neighbor kid driving up on his lawnmower to hang out.
and doing fucking drag races
Yeah.
down the street.
Yeah.
So how did you get into doing distilling?
Yeah. try to shorten it up here. You know this, the listeners may not. We went to art school together. We came down here to Columbus. Rob and I graduated from high school together. We came down here to Columbus, go to Columbus College of Art and Design. We both stayed. We were roommates for a while. My background's graphic design, brand management, worked in the industry for some years. Really love it. I still do that today. I own a small branding company called States of Design. Through that, I built a relationship. I knew the guy before, but I built a relationship with my buddy Jordan and his wife, who started Zest Juice Co. here in Columbus. Doing all the brand work for them, working with Jordan, we built this really good relationship, realizing that we can be friends and we can work together, which is rare. But because of that, he was like, hey, I have this idea. I want to do a brewery. Would you have any interest in doing it? He really wanted this bar aspect. I was like, well, let's put a brewery onto it because there's some cool stuff that you can do. And this was probably 6 years ago now, right in the middle of the craft boom movement within Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah,
there was already
10 years ago. How many microbrews do we have?
10 years ago, there was, in the United States, there was 2,000 microbrews 10 years ago, and there's 7,000 now.
Yeah.
I just learned this because I was talking to Land Grant guys.
Well, there you go. Shout out Land Grant guys.
Wow.
Yeah. That's insane.
But even 6 years ago, there was probably 5,500, craft. I mean, there was already probably 35 in Columbus, and now there's over 60. But we still thought that we had a niche in getting into that. We were a year into the process of business plan. I had the brand design, I had can designs, I have all that stuff.
Was it still called High Bank at that point?
No, it was Bus Brew Co.
Oh, I remember seeing some of those preliminary designs.
I have all, and I could pull them up for you. I have all these badass
show notes.
I have all these.
Well, we don't want anybody ripping off Adam's hard
I still
work.
have this. Yeah, I still have this idea that maybe I can create a brewery at some point.
There you go.
And use Bus Brew Co.
Wait till the bubble bursts on the brewery thing, and then when it's on the downturn, that's when Bus Brew Co. comes out of nowhere and fucking uppercuts the industry again.
But a year into it, there were some laws that were changing. And again, just to backtrack a little bit, my dad's lived in Louisville, Kentucky for the last 15 years. The first ever experience I had with bourbon was I used to own a Harley. My dad still owns a Harley, and we would be riding down there in between Louisville and Lexington around horse country. And I remember coming up over this hill, this picturesque thing, right? You come up over a hill, doves fly, no joke, and I'm not even joking.
Sun rays.
So here's the thing: doves fly, and my dad ran over one of those doves.
Oh no!
Killed it. And when we pulled in, he's like, "Did you see me run that over?" I was like, "Yes, I saw you run that over." But we pulled over next to a rick house. I was like, "What the heck is that?" He's like, "It's a rick house." I was like, "What is a rick house?" And it was Jim Beam's rick house.
Oh,
and so
shit!
One of the many that Jim Beam has, across. So then we drive a little further down, pull into the distillery, do a tour. First ever distillery tour I've been on. And I've probably been on 45 since then.
Yeah.
Never knowing that was going to be something that was kind of paving the way for the future of. So I started collecting. Started really getting into the bourbon side of things. Fast forward again, when we were a year into this brewery side of things, I decided to, when this law was changing, which the law was, you were not allowed to having a restaurant attached to a distillery up until like 3.5 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
In Ohio? Or is it just Columbus?
Just in Ohio.
Okay.
So you could only...
Beer and spirits are completely separate.
different. Wineries, you can do it. Beer, you can do it. Spirits, you could not. So you could serve 1 ounce of alcohol at your distillery. That was it. You could serve 4 1/4 ounce pours.
So they were setting up to be like tasting rooms and that sort of thing.
Tasting rooms, and that's it. So you could serve 4 1/4 ounce pours. No food was allowed to be served. No cocktails were allowed to be served, anything like that. With the law changing, where you can now essentially do the brew pub side of things, I suggested to my buddy Jordan, I was like, hey, I actually have way more interest in the distilling side of things to learn how to do it.
Tastes way better. Let's be real. Let's be real.
It does taste real.
Oh my gosh.
But it was just this thing. It was kind of this natural fit. And so 3 years before we actually opened our doors back in June of 2018, we shifted, decided to become a distillery. I came up with the brand High Bank.
So because you were switching to a distillery, that's when you decided to do the rebrand?
Yeah, I mean, because Bus Brew Co., we could have done Bus Distillery Co., didn't have
Bus Spirits or something like that.
Yeah, it didn't have like B&B, the alliteration, all that stuff was a little different. We decided to shift gears. It was awesome. I knew nothing about distilling other than being on the tours down there, but I learned. I learned by buying a hypothetical 15-gallon still, because it's very illegal.
That may or may not exist.
It may or may not exist.
Yes.
It may or may not have lived in my garage for 3 years.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. So I hypothetically bought that. And then I also started shadowing people. I went up to Rochester, New York, shadowed Jason at Black Button Distilling, and went down to Louisville a few times. There's a real place called Moonshine University. took classes down there. And we also had a great consultant, Tyler, he works at Beam down in Kentucky.
Jim Beam?
Yeah.
Woo!
And
you're as close as they are.
Yeah.
Beam.
It's just Beam.
we're on a second name basis? Last name basis? That's not right.
We only call each other by our surnames.
Surname basis. There we go. Thanks, Pete. Thanks for saving me.
But once we had all the equipment up and running at our establishment, he came up, basically lived with me for a week. We were at the distillery night and day, got my machine dialed in, and then took off from there.
Well, it's going well. We're currently drinking some Whiskey War Barrel Proof, and it tastes
delicious.
Outstanding. Good.
Appreciate it.
And you're actually empty, so why don't you have a little more there?
What's your assistant's name? I forget.
Jerry.
Jerry.
Can you get me a cube?
Jerry.
Thanks, buddy.
He may take a while. He's not very good. He works for free. We can't pay him.
Yeah. This being a carb podcast,
Yeah.
we've talked a
Is
lot
that what
about
this
whiskey.
Whiskey and cars go together, just not at the same time.
Not at the same time, separately. So what got you into cars?
For me, it's always been something that's been in my life. Episode 3, I feel like, is when you guys talked about that Mustang that you saw that had the car seats in it.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Avid listener.
Avid listener. He said that already. Yeah.
And I'm happy that your counterpart over here called out because I feel like I'm probably the only person with a 69 Cougar that has 2 car seats in the back
you
of
were
it.
kind of the guy. We weren't sure whether we could name drop you yet at that point, but yes, you were the guy he was talking about.
This is it, yeah.
Yeah. So, but the story on that 69 Cougar, and what I always love telling, right now I have 3 girls. We have a 2-month-old. But this past summer, when we just had 2, my 2 girls, they love this Cougar. And the story, I've gotten stopped so many times because a Cougar, you don't see Cougars around too much.
They're not super popular, no.
They're super similar to a Mustang, same size. We have a 351 in it, but it's all original, right? So it's one of those things where, when I talk to you about your 63, what would you do to it? I mean, for me, and I know mine's much more emotional because I remember I was my oldest daughter's age. I was 5 years old riding in the back of that car.
Oh, shit.
And so that car has been in my family since like before I was born. This was my grandfather's car.
Was he the original owner of the car?
No, he was not the original owner. He bought it in, I want to say he bought it in, so it's a 69. I think he bought it in the early 80s. So it was probably already probably talking a 15, 18-year-old car, when he bought it. But for some reason, he was into Cougars. I remember an early...
Me too.
Just got that.
Oh, shit.
He had 3 of them when I was growing up.
He had 3?
He had 3 Cougars.
I never knew that.
I want to say
all classics?
Yeah, I think they were all 69s. I just have so many fond memories of, my grandfather in that car and my dad in that car, sitting on a 5-gallon bucket in the driver's seat when there was nothing in the car, when they were, my dad and my grandfather redid that car together. They just cleaned it up, put it all back, put original parts back on the car. And that's why he had 3. My grandfather was parting out other cars, and anything that needed to be replaced, he was using original parts for. I remember a green one too, but it was a hardtop. My grandmother said you can only keep one.
That's a dagger in the heart.
Yeah,
man.
mine's a baby blue with a white convertible top, right? And then the other one was this dark green with a black soft top on it, but it was a hard top.
Would
but
you call it a forest green?
Yes. My grandfather's name was Forrest.
Oh, I was like, why is that funny? I don't get that joke at all. Got it.
Pete's been a part of the family a long time.
Yeah.
But what happened, how I got the car. So my grandfather passed away. It would have been in 2004, I think is when he passed away. So a while ago. And I tried to maintain the car stayed in the garage at my grandmother's. I would drive it every once in a while. My grandfather let me drive it, when I was in high school, just around the block, around town and stuff like that, which was great. And I used to always try to take it out 2 or 3 times a year in the summertime just to keep things moving. But we went probably 8 or 9 years without really touching it, you know. And by doing that, obviously, with an old car, it's not good.
Right, yeah.
And so I convinced him, I was like, hey, if I invest the money into it, can I trail the car down to Columbus? I have a great mechanic that I love down here, Garcia's Auto Care in Westerville, Ohio.
Shout out Garcia's. Wow.
Great guy. Love him. And I talked to him about it, and I was like, hey, if I bring this Cougar down, will you help me mechanically restore it? Because the body-wise, the car's in decent shape. From 10 feet away, it looks beautiful, right? Yeah. You get up on it, there's dings, dents, all that stuff.
But that's the way a car should be, in my opinion.
Like literally there's
that means
probably
you're driving it.
Yeah, there's an 8-inch scratch down the side, like really low.
Yeah.
And I remember I talked to my dad. This was when my grandfather was still, and I was like, what scratch was that? He's like, I ran into the car with a freaking lawnmower. Like, I remember my dad being so pissed off because he put that scratch down the side of the car, but now it's like, Dad, you ran into that with a lawnmower.
There's
That's
a
what I
story
think
there.
about every time I see that scratch. It's
That's
my
right.
dad running into it with a lawnmower.
It drives me crazy when I see old classics that are mint,
Pristine.
because
Yeah.
that means they're not driving them. That means they're just sitting in a garage.
My girls are obsessed with the car. They love it.
Yeah.
Just last Saturday, I went and got ice cream in the car
There you go.
with my 2 girls.
It's beautiful.
Like, I drive that thing whenever I can. Talked to my grandmother, my dad. They agreed. I said I would pay for it. It was an undisclosed amount of money because my wife does not want to know how much money I spent on the mechanical restoration. But I told my mechanic, I want this. I want to go out and be able to. I know that every single time I turn the key, that it's going to start right up.
Right.
And I want the suspension to be safe, because I'm going to be taking my kids in it,
Yeah.
all that stuff. So it was a decent amount of money that I had to spend to restore it.
You're what
But it's all-
listen to this podcast.
It was all for the good of keeping the car as I want it to be.
Sure, yeah.
And my dad was fine with it. He agreed with me that, it's still technically it's my dad's car. He just allows me to keep it at
Store
my
it, pay for the insurance.
Yeah, store it, pay for the insurance, pay for all the mechanical issues. And
No, it's a cool car. I like it.
yeah, I'll never sell it.
If I thought
ever.
my 63 could make it to Westerville, I'd meet you up there.
Cougar can make it down there. Just don't take it on highways.
Yeah.
It's got 30-year-old tires on it.
I was gonna say, did you switch the tires?
No,
yet?
once I have the tires on it, I can take it on the highway. I just don't feel comfortable going.
Well, you don't want to have
65
a
with it.
blowout at 65 on a highway.
Where's your sense of adventure?
Yeah, dude, the car is like I said, baby blue, white top, white wall tires. Like, it's just
And because you don't see a lot of Cougars, it gets
Yeah.
looks.
Absolutely.
all the time,
Absolutely.
man. Like, I can't go out without getting 5 people like yelling at me, giving me a thumbs up.
Accosting
We talked
you.
about this on one of the
It's
episodes.
serious.
Like certain cars, like
Yeah.
that 86 Beamer.
Yeah.
I get more like people stopping me in that old, basically nothing car because of its uniqueness or whatever. And the same with this thing. Remember
Yeah.
when we were in Florida and we had our motorcycles down there?
Yeah, you're
I had a 76 Honda CB 504. It was fine. I don't want to hear it. We got stopped 5, 6, 7 times.
Yeah, I did the paint job on your tank.
And then the JB weld work and then the duct tape work.
I'm saying the duct tape. I did that. We wrapped his tank.
You actually sprayed the tank too. You
Did-
don't remember
yeah,
that?
I did do that.
Yeah. You're the one that put holes in it because it was so thin.
Well, yeah, I put holes in. I was trying to blast off all the paint.
You was sandblasting it.
at CCAD.
Ah.
The thing was paper thin because it was so rusted.
1976. You got to take care of these things.
I did. I JB welded it, and then we did a wrap on the tank with black
I
duct
think
tape.
I remember.
Oh,
I
dude,
remember
it-
seeing the.
It looked
yeah.
badass with that
It
wrap
looked
on it.
really good.
It did.
It's also
And-
very dangerous.
Well, yeah, having a
Super dangerous.
a gas tank with holes in it that
It
are
made
just
it a-
essentially duct tape.
It probably made it 150 miles in Florida before it started leaking gas everywhere. And then Pete, when we got home, he took off the tank and beat it with a baseball bat.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
was that the end of the bike, or did you get a new tank?
No, the bike is still around. Actually, my father-in-law has it. He swears he's gonna restore it.
He still has it.
Yeah, and I bought a new tank for it too because the tank was terrible. It couldn't hold gas. I mean, it was just so.
I mean,
it wasn't bad.
That's the point of the tank.
That's
I bought a tank on eBay. I was gonna put it on. I was at the time more interested in a newer bike, so I gave it to my father-in-law. And
Did
bought
you get a
new
newer bike?
I did. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
As an 06 Kawasaki Ninja, I think.
Okay.
Had
Did
it
some
for-
trips on that.
Yeah, I did some trips on that. Had
Yeah.
it for a couple.
You made it down to
years.
Kentucky.
We did. We
Yeah.
went to Kentucky. My ass has never hurt so bad.
Oh man, I can't imagine.
And it was a sport touring. It wasn't like a true like.
But even
race
that,
no.
though,
Dude, it
even
was-
that,
so, I mean, think
I
about-
I can't imagine.
I was on a Sportster 1200. I remember Pete driving down. So he drove 130 miles down from Canton.
right.
And
to
then we
Columbus.
took back roads to Kentucky. It was 220 miles down to Kentucky.
Why
And then
didn't you
had to
take
go back.
highways? Why didn't you take highways?
Just for the ride,
ride.
right? Like
Yeah,
we
yeah,
took
yeah.
42 all the way down. I mean, it's sure you can take 71 down and make it in 190 miles down to my dad's, but you take 42 all the way down. You're weaving in and out, going by the river, all that stuff. It's just way
It's a
more
better ride.
Right.
Yeah,
better ride
yeah,
for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's all about the ride, man.
All about enjoying the ride.
the
enjoying
joy ride.
Ah. Yeah, Adam used to park his 1200 Sportster right next to my 71 Kawasaki 550.
Hey, I was thinking about the other day. I was at Panera. Do you remember when you got in trouble with the cops at Panera? First time you
Yes.
got your bike?
Wait a minute. I do not know this story. What did you do? Tell me what you did.
This was the first time you took your bike out, right?
It was one of them, yeah.
And so we go to Panera. Rob and I, felt real cool. We rolled up in these motorcycles, parked them right by their windows. And then we see this motorcycle cop in Grandview that pulls in too, and we're thinking like, yeah, he's checking out the bike.
He's checking out these
because it was his classic
vintage.
It was his classic bike,
dude.
And then
you don't see a 71 Kawasaki every day.
And this was at the end, and I'm like, hey, Rob, let's go out and talk to the police officer. The guy's just checking out our bikes, right?
Checking out your plate to write you a ticket.
Dude, so
that is
we go
exactly what he was doing.
He's like, whose bike is this? I'm like, that's his. He's like, your plates are like 3 years expired. I was like, Rob, what are you doing? He's like, really?
You were gonna get him. You're gonna get him up there, right? I mean,
I think he was so surprised because we were so surprised. Like, oh shit.
Yeah,
Like,
I had no idea that the tags were
How do you not
that
know?
far expired. I don't know. I just thought it would be okay. Like I just. They were coming. I just had, I hadn't gotten them yet, and I was super excited to have passed my motorcycle license and everything like that. And so I wanted to take the bike out, and I thought it wouldn't be a big deal.
And we literally told the police officer that exact same story. And luckily, knowing Grandview cops as I do now, living there, I can't believe he let us go. And
did he
the bike.
really?
Yeah,
He
because
let us
Grandview cops
go, dude.
are not that nice.
not that lenient.
Not
They're
that lenient.
sticklers.
They are sticklers.
But I think it was because he was a motorcycle cop.
Yeah.
He was kind of an older dude, so I think he appreciated the fact that I was rocking a super old bike. He checked to make sure we had helmets. He wanted to make sure we were safe, which we did.
Wow.
Thank
a great story.
goodness he let, because he could have towed it. Like,
he
yeah.
could have impounded that.
and the bike was worth nothing. That bike was in the
impound fees would have
saddest
been-
shape of any motorcycle. It had been left outside.
Yeah.
Shout out to my buddy Ed, who's a listener.
I was gonna say, wasn't that Ed's bike?
Yeah,
It
that
was
was
Ed's bike. It was Andy's bike. It was Zach's bike. It made its way around town, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that was that bike.
It was
And,
it was the cougar of motorcycles.
it was-
Bringing it back.
yes.
Oh my
Yeah.
We call that a callback in the business.
I miss that
Wow.
thing. There are times when I miss it. Now I don't miss that
I
it,
miss it too.
left me stranded and that it wouldn't start a lot and it didn't have a gas
think-
gauge on it.
Yeah, I think
and-
there was only one time we went truly on a ride together in our whole lives.
yeah, which is sad.
That bike didn't
want-
last long.
no,
I
it
want
didn't.
mine back so that I can restore it because my father-in-law won't, but he won't give it back. He's a collector.
I actually sold it back to Zach's dad, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. For almost nothing.
Yeah.
And so he shows up, and I basically won $100 for this bike because I put
scrap metal.
I put 2 batteries in it. I fixed a bunch of shit on it. I did a bunch of work myself on it. I was like, just give me $100 just to make my life a little easier.
right.
He didn't even want to pay me that.
No.
We agreed on the price before he came down, and when he saw it, he was like,
Oh, that hurts.
I mean, I guess because I already said, but
Right.
he was trying to talk me down a little bit, and I was like,
no, dude,
no,
I
man,
need
it's,
100.
it's still a motorcycle that works. Like,
me a
you're
hundo.
gonna give me $100.
Oh, that's
But so it worked its way back into the original owner's hands.
Wow.
Do you remember what I sold my bike for?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
What did you sell your bike?
Because you drove it up to Canton.
Do you remember?
Oh yes, I do. You got that?
it was
that
a
Dune-
1969
Yeah,
Volkswagen 1600 street legal dune buggy.
dune buggy. Yes,
Rail buggy, baby.
It was a rail buggy.
Yeah.
yeah.
that thing was super sketchy.
It
I
was
remember.
sketchy.
I
thought
drove
it was-
that thing 120 miles
all
to
the way,
Canton
all the way up to
and
Canton.
back.
I remember thinking it was weird because you got rid of your motorcycle because you were like, I'm having kids. This isn't safe. So let me buy a dune buggy.
I wasn't having kids
How
yet.
bad was that ride though with the suspension all the way
No,
up?
it was great. You know what was? You know what was?
great.
That thing was so much fun. I loved my dune buggy phase. I had it for 3 years.
Did you have it that long?
I had it for 3 years.
No kidding.
I didn't realize it leaked a lot of oil until when I was on that 120-mile trip up to Canton, and my wife followed me the whole way in her car, and the front windshield was covered in oil. She's like, "Yeah, it's really glossy on my front windshield, and I can't having to use my windshield wipers." I'm like, "Why are there oil specks all over your car?"
And it was
Wasn't it
yellow,
like a-
right?
It was yellow. Yeah, it was
3-speed,
It was a 4.
4-speed.
Yeah, 4-speed.
I remember the shifter just like rattling like
Yeah,
a
it was-
child's rattle.
Yeah, you were
in the gate. It was like,
You would get it. You would get it into gear once every 5th try. You
Which is
just
super helpful at stoplights and
Yeah.
intersections.
Oh,
the
for
guy,
sure.
the guy that so what I was looking for, right? Like I felt like I needed to get rid of my motorcycle. I was starting to feel really unsafe. I wasn't riding as much as I used to have. I had it for 6 or 7 years. Loved the thing.
That's exactly how I got out of mine.
Yeah, I mean, it was just one of those things where it's like I was getting married. My wife was, I mean, everybody's like, your wife make you sell it? Not at all. She was actually probably more upset than I was when I got rid of it because that was date nights for us, right? Like just fun. It was part of our identity, stuff that we did together. But I just felt unsafe with it, right? I mean, you relate with that.
Yep.
But I still wanted something fun. Like I saved my money. Do you remember our conversation of how we both got bikes?
Yeah.
I had a nice Ford F-150 and we talked about, I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sell my truck, which was worth about, I got $9,000 for it at the time. I'm going to buy a cheap car. I'm going to buy a motorcycle. He's like, I'm going to buy a motorcycle too. Pete only had like a $1,000 to spend.
Nope. $500.
Yeah.
I bought it for $500.
So he got his, and then and I decided I got $9,000 for my truck, and I decided to buy my sister's. She bought it brand new. It was a Ford Focus. It was a 2002 Ford Focus, the black Focus, right?
Remember the black Focus?
I paid
Yeah.
$4,500 for it.
Okay.
So I had $4,500.
Oh, that gets
to
you into a
spend.
Sportster all day,
Dude,
every day.
That was a
bro.
1997 mint condition 1200 Sportster.
I hate where this is going because all roads lead to one gas station at the end of
No,
the stories.
I wasn't going to bring that up until just now.
yeah, you were.
We're going to bring
yeah,
that.
You
No,
were.
I wasn't.
Yeah, you were.
We'll bring that up later. But I was just thinking, but like that's why I love this podcast, guys. Like it's been bringing me down this memory lane of all of these, decisions and great things. And
So do you ever miss your bike?
For like a split second.
Yeah.
I mean, there is.
Because it hits me once a year.
Yeah.
It hits me once a
I want to
year.
rip down a road
Yes.
as fast as I can once every 6 months maybe.
Yeah.
And then
And I don't have space for it. I think if I had the space, it would be hard not to justify spending $3,000 on just anything.
It's interesting for me, right? Do I miss riding? I don't.
You don't miss riding at all.
Like, here's the thing: what I miss the identity.
Weird.
Like, understand me too. I was a 19-year-old kid that bought a Harley Davidson. How many 19-year-old kids do you know that invested into a Harley? I got stopped at least a dozen times in the 7 years that I had that bike from 60-year-old men. Basically was like, fuck yeah. Like that. We're just like, I love seeing a young kid
young
on a
person
Harley.
on a Harley. Yeah,
On a
because
Harley.
that's
Like,
not the market. That's
I'd be
not
at a
the target
gas
market.
station or I'd be at a stoplight, and I mean, anybody that rides motorcycles, like if you catch up to somebody, you're going to pull up next to them, you're going to have a conversation, wave to them at least.
If you were on my 71, you couldn't because it was so fucking loud. It sounded like a lawnmower.
downhill with the wind to his back.
But that's what I miss. I really don't miss riding that much because I can still hop on my dad's bike if I wanted to. I just get so nervous about it now. Because I have 3 girls and a wife and a family. And I do see myself, though. So my dad, what got me into Harleys was my dad had a bike when he was young, when he was first married. A potato chip truck ran it over. When he wasn't on it, there's a story behind that. But when he wasn't on it, and then he never got a bike again, right? He was engaged to my mom, potato chip truck, forgot to put an e-brake on, rolled backwards, ran over his bike, destroyed it, never got a bike, right? And then when I was 16 years old, my dad rolls up in I think it was a 1998 soft-tailed Deuce, all chromed out, beautiful.
nice.
He had that
I
bike for
remember
like
that
10 years.
bike. Oh my
It's a
god, that
beautiful
bike was beautiful.
From then on, by the time I was 17, I had my motorcycle's license. And I think that's why my dad waited so long, because he knew like when he would get a bike again, I'd want to get my motorcycle license. And I did. I did it through Jackson. I did it through our high school. Got my license
no
right
way.
away. Yeah. Like as soon
So
as I
you
could.
had your motorcycle license before graduating high school?
I did. Yeah.
Holy shit.
I got it my junior year of high school.
Okay.
And I
All
did
right.
it. I did it in the Jackson parking lot.
See, my experience is totally different from
Yeah.
that. Like I miss the ride aspect of it, but I never like had an identity attached to me riding.
Me
Yeah.
neither.
I just liked going. I mean, that Ninja I had was the most cost-effective way to do 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds.
sure.
Oh,
That a 20-year-old
absolutely.
that a 20-year-old can afford, right? I mean,
Yeah.
like it was a way to go fast. It was awesome.
There's like a zen thing that happens when you ride a motorcycle
Yeah.
because it's just you and the road.
I'm glad you said that because I think I lost that feeling and stopped riding almost the whole season. It got to the end of the season. I rode the bike 2 times,
Yeah.
and I knew I was done. I sold it that September.
I miss it a lot. I can't wait to have garage space for one.
I mean, the biggest thing for me too is I rode with my dad a lot, And that's probably one of the things that I miss the most.
Yeah.
Is like that was fun.
Yeah.
Like because that would be a week. We would plan a weekend, 1 or 2 a year. I would go down to Kentucky, would ride horse country. Like just ride around.
I would
that
love
was
to
a fun thing
get
to
some
do.
Harleys and go ride the Bourbon Trail,
Dude.
Just
you talk
around
about
there,
a more
man.
beautiful country. There's not like
It's insane down there.
you got the hills, you got little mountains, you got. I mean, it's beautiful.
Stop off, have a whiskey, have a little bite to eat. Just
I
one
will-
whiskey.
I
though.
will-
You
yeah,
can't.
I
you
will
can't-
say
Just do a Joyride pod trip. Is that what's happening?
I'm pretty sure we're gonna do that.
That sounds like
Yeah,
a
this summer.
fantastic
Right?
idea.
The 2020 Joyride.
Yeah.
When you talk about that, right? Like when you guys talk about just ripping down the open road, I always love the leisure, of like being on my bike and just going through like fall trees, all these colors and all that stuff, not ripping through stuff. And I think that was also me why I decided to get a Harley instead of a sport bike. I test drove both,
You did test drive both. You test drove the shit out of the one at the dealership, from what I remember.
Oh, that's right. The Buell, right? The Buell. So Adam went and test drove this Buell one time.
He sounds
And,
really cool on this
I mean-
podcast, but
No, I can tell the story. Okay, if you
Go
want me
ahead.
to tell the story, I can
We
tell
have
it.
to tell the story.
it won't be as good as if we tell the story.
My friend Peter and I decided to go to that. I already had my motorcycle. I already had my
You
Sportster.
did, and you were.
And I was
thinking
debating
about it.
on upgrading to a Buell. I freaking love Buells. My dad had a Buell.
I blame your dad for that because I still pine for.
I
an
love
03
that
Buell.
bike,
I
right?
know.
I still,
They're
hey dad,
so
when you listen to
trash.
this, I'm so mad that you sold your Buell Lightning 1200
Shame on
without
you.
telling me.
Yeah.
But you also probably saved my life.
I did it on purpose because I would have bought that bike.
Yeah. I mean, when I heard when I found out what he sold it for, I was
Don't
like,
even tell
what?
me. Don't do it.
I think it was $3,500.
Oh, I'll kill you. I'll reach across
The thing was in such
studio.
good. It was in such good condition, except for the one time that diesel fuel got put into the engine by somebody on this table.
Not
within this like glass studio that we're in right now.
Beautiful,
This beautiful
velvet
studio.
studio.
Why don't we get back to your test drive before we get into my mistake? Okay.
So I'm rocking this Buell. It was the Firebolt. So the Lightning was the more sit up cruiser style, or sport cruiser style,
And the
right?
better bike, by the way.
Better bike, 100%. I had never been on the Firebolt though, so the Firebolt was a little more aggressive, had the more classic sport bike look to it. So I go to the Harley dealership in Canton, Ohio, in Belden. There, hop on the bike. First time I have ever ridden a bike in shorts. So one of the things that my dad always told me,
That's
jeans,
Red X #1.
Yes, jeans and helmet minimum, right? Like
Jeans, helmet, shoes that cover your ankles.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Jeans, helmet, boots, all that stuff. So I was in tennis shoes, I was in khaki shorts and a t-shirt. I always wear a helmet. I could never ride a bike without a helmet. I was driving all around, going down Frank Road by the airport.
Frank and Apple Grove is where it happened.
Yeah. And there is this 70-year-old man that pulls out from Apple Grove in a Lexus right in front of me. And I have to slam on the brakes.
And he slow turned that son bitch too.
He did. He slow turned it.
Taking his
And it was
sweet
either
time.
it was either lay down the bike or go right into the side of the car.
Okay.
I chose to lay down the bike. And so I was probably going 45 miles an hour.
Brand
This
new
car,
bike.
brand new bike, test
right
driving
from the
it.
dealership.
This
test
car,
driving that.
this car goes right out in front of me. Slam on the brakes, lock it up. The brakes start locking up. I don't know if you're familiar with like when brakes lock up on a bike. You can flip off that thing because that
Yeah.
back tire will kick around.
It'll buck you right off.
And that's what my decision was. When I heard the screeching tires, I was like, shit. And I just lay that thing down because I didn't want it to buck me off and then go flying into that
they
car.
call that
right?
a high side.
There's a term
crash.
for that. Yeah.
For all you non-motorcycle riders out there.
I'll never forget being at the dealership.
I left you a message. Do you remember that message?
Yes.
Real quick. So like this guy in the Lexus, he just rolled down. He was like, "You okay?" I'm like, I was in shock. I'm like, I think so because I hopped right up.
Okay, I'll see you later then.
And that's what he does. I didn't hit his car. I
Oh,
literally
shit.
stopped. I stopped 3 feet in front of his car, slid 3 feet in front of his car.
Oh no.
And so he's like, okay. And he pulls off and I'm getting his license plate and I call Pete. The only person I'm like, I'm going to call Pete. And he doesn't pick up. And so he gets his voicemail and I just start repeating the license plate number. I was like, 96784B3, 96784B3. Remember this fucking number. I was literally in shock. And then he calls me back. I ended up talking to the dealership. I couldn't ride the bike back. The bike did have a decent amount of damage. It was all like road rash damage, right? Going
Yeah.
down the side. It
Didn't
wasn't
you snap
like
a peg too.
Yeah,
but the reason
so
I
did
couldn't,
you
the
lay it
reason
on the
why,
right side?
yeah, the reason
So
why I
the
couldn't
train-
ride
the-
it, so I couldn't,
You couldn't shift it.
yeah, it was the left side, right? So I couldn't I couldn't shift the bike anymore, and so I couldn't ride it back.
I'll never forget the sales guy.
Dude, we left quick. We left quick.
Sales guy at the dealership. You could tell he was like apprehensive about working with 2 young kids. Because how old were we?
Right.
20?
Yeah, we were. It was.
We weren't old
20,
enough to
21.
drink.
Yeah, it was 20 probably.
He's like, and he's talking, and Adam's like,
The reality is, though, I was legit interested in the bike.
You
like,
were, and you were
I was
playing
ready
it
to
too.
sell
You're
my.
like, I have this Harley. I did do
Yeah,
that.
I was
like, so he's slowly and so apprehensively warming up to this idea. And you kind of get in the back of your head, like maybe he's short on his bike sales this month, and he could use another one. so he pulls out the Firebolt. He like wants to put him on a Lightning, and I was like, "No, I've been on a Lightning. I want the Firebolt."
Yeah.
He's like, "Well, it's not really a demo. It only has 100 miles on it. Just go around the block because we don't want this thing to be over like 200
And I was
miles."
just going around. That was around the block. It was. Frank Road is literally around the block.
I suppose it depends on where you start.
I missed his call on my cell phone. And I'm like, where is he? And I run back in because I'm waiting out in the parking lot, I think. I run back into the showroom, and I'm like, I don't know where he is. And he's like, yeah, he just laid it down. And like, he called some other sales manager or something. They went and like hooked up a trailer and took out a truck.
They had that. It was
Oh
like a
my
close trailer.
gosh, dude.
All I would say is I was vindicated when I was not cited for the accident.
There you go.
So because I had to do multiple interviews like for insurance companies, and I had to prove the fact that it wasn't my fault. Like I had to run to the side of the car or lay it down. Speaking of almost totaling bikes, after Pete's CBC, Honda completely shitted on us and we couldn't ride it anymore. The next year, so Pete and I used to go down to Florida every year. You attended one.
Sarasota. Yes.
Do you remember how the water tasted better?
You remember that? It tasted way better, guys.
Okay.
What you
Just
get
so
on
you
the
know.
Gulf side?
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know this out in Audio Land, but Gulf side ocean water tastes way better than.
Yeah, the sun shines brighter
Yeah.
too, I think.
Yeah.
Funny story. Because we took that trip, I talked up Sarasota so much that one of my friends ended up moving there.
The guy from IM Media.
Yeah.
right?
He still lives there. Family.
Why would
You're
you ever
welcome,
leave?
beautiful kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
When you're
Sarasota's
there,
one of the
like,
best.
Take
come
it
on,
with you,
come on.
yeah.
Sarasota's insane. Y'all,
Yeah.
anybody listening should check it out as a
Yeah.
vacation spot for sure. Siesta Key.
Yes, and you can thank Scob for your tasting of the Gulf water.
They took advantage of me, guys.
We've all been there.
They loaded me up.
We just weren't 27 at the time.
Yeah. But Pete and I would go down. We were like living the high life, right? We were staying in my grandmother's
We could stretch
trailer.
a buck better than anybody you know, man.
So my grandma and grandpa, the same one that my grandfather that had the 69 Cougar that I have, they've been going down to Siesta Key. They went down to Siesta Key for 30 years. And before that, their parents were going down to Siesta Key. They had this trailer spot that they would always go down to.
Like a retirement community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was, so my grandmother would be down there from, this time my grandfather's already passed away, and it would just be us going down and staying with my grandma, or not, my grandma wouldn't be down there at all. Either way, she didn't care, like we could use it whenever. And so it'd be this, 60 plus retirement community, and then these two young 20-year-olds
assholes.
with motorcycles come in and stay in this trailer for a week.
You
but
guys
we
probably
got
got so many dirty looks.
we got smart by the end once we decided not to bring that Honda that kept breaking.
Did you ride all the way down there?
No. We would take we would rotate to whatever car Steve Hines had that could pull motorcycles, which was either a Toyota Tacoma or an FJ Cruiser or a Honda Pilot, whatever it
No,
was.
it wasn't the Pilot. It's the
Ridgeline.
Ridgeline.
You're right, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they had Kentucky plates, and we went down to watch the Ohio State National Championship game, and we were lucky it had Kentucky plates.
Yes. Yep.
That game did not go so well.
No.
if they missed the plates, they probably got our faces painted.
Because literally we had Blockos painted on our face.
Man. I remember being in for that game. I was in a Florida bar when that game was happening. I was
Brutal.
just covered in OSU gear, just thinking, I'm here in their town. We're playing them. We're gonna tear them to pieces.
Yep.
Look at Teddy get on that kickoff.
Yep. And then nothing.
And then nothing.
And then after that, nothing.
Nothing happened after that.
Nothing.
And then I was very sad.
We were there at the same time.
Yeah, we were. Yeah.
Let's get back to the story I was trying to tell, though. This is a good one. So after the CBC Honda blew up,
It's not a CBC. It's a CB 500.
whatever,
I
CBC
thought it was
Brewing
CBR.
Company.
CB.
No, CBR is way later. This
Okay.
This is a CB 504, which meant it was a
Whatever.
4-cylinder.
Yeah, the only thing I know is Harleys,
Super
like
power.
real bikes. But
Oh shit.
so we were down there, and we decided to drive. Was it the Ridgeline? Doesn't matter what it was.
It was the Ridgeline.
We were heading down there, but my dad had that 1200 Buell
Yeah.
Lightning,
Yeah.
and I had my Sportster, and so I convinced my dad. So my dad had his.
Your dad's a really good dude.
He is.
Shout out Papa Hines.
Yeah, he let me do a lot of
Hines,
things.
Papa Hines took care of
Yeah,
us.
but I feel like he trusted me because I was very respectful with all of his nice things.
We were,
we
yeah.
were very respectful.
Yeah.
Even if we went fast in some of them, we
That's
We
what they
respectably
listen.
fast.
We never.
That was what they were designed for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
It's fine.
So we were very conservative with whatever Papa Hines let us use. So he allowed me to borrow the 1200 Buell, which the thing was a rocket. It was amazing. My favorite bike I've ever ridden in my life. And then I had my 1200 Sportster. And so Pete and I would rotate off. So we would trade on who's driving what bike, right? Because I loved my Sportster.
point, my
I
Honda
love that
died.
idea.
yeah,
I love
it was,
that
dude.
idea.
It was so much. It was so much
You
fun.
get, you get a little bit of cruiser. You
did
get
we?
a little bit of
Didn't we
sport
do
bike.
that? Did we do that only once, or did we do that a couple times? Just once.
Because I ruined it.
So we were getting ready. We were already down there for a while. We were probably 5 days into the trip. This was the summer before Pete was getting married.
That's right.
And because you remember that Michelob Ultra that I signed, that was very expensive. It was very expensive because we go to a gas station. I go inside to get our Gatorades because we're about ready to go on a long ride for the day. So we're getting snacks, we're getting drinks, we're putting them in the saddlebags of my Sportster,
gotta
like all that
hydrate.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
Gotta hydrate. I was like, Pete, put the gas in. He's like, cool.
Yep. My
So-
pay for gas.
He paid for the gas. We hop on our bikes. I look back. I'm on the.
You're on the Buell.
I'm on the Buell.
I'm on the Sportster.
And
I
he's on the
died first.
Sportster. Yeah. So my Sportster was empty. The thing had a 2.7 gallon gas tank, tiny.
In a little peanut tank.
And
Yeah, so it was-
carbureted. Yours was
Yes.
fuel injected.
So we leave the gas station and I hop on the highway and I look back and I'm like, where's Pete? So I'm like, he must have missed the light, right? And I'm flying down and I'm like, why is the bike acting weird? It was like missing all the time. And I'm like, okay, something's weird. I'm like trying to floor it to see if I can like clean out some bad gas or something like that. Nope. It was making it worse. And then I look and I'm like, there's this blue smoke puffing out the exhaust.
Oh no!
And I'm like, okay, so there was luckily 2 miles up the road, there was another exit, so I get right off. Looking back and I don't see Pete anywhere, right? And so I get up there, I pull over onto the sandy, gravel strip of the side of a road off the next exit, and I'm like, what the hell? And I open up the gas tank and I smell it. I was like, freaking diesel. There's diesel gas in this engine.
I didn't make it out of the gas.
He didn't make it anywhere.
I died in the intersection.
Yeah.
I never get gas at a BP.
Well-
To this day, I will not fill up my tank at a BP gas station.
I will preface it. Luckily, so I'm gonna send this podcast when we launch this to my friend Jed, who lives in Florida still.
Shout out Jed.
Hey Jed.
What's up, dude?
Jed, who was a friend of mine that I used to work with down in Florida when I would spend summers down there at Chick-fil-A. Shout out Chick-fil-A, delicious.
Next sponsor.
God, oh man, that chicken sandwich.
Yeah.
Something else.
But luckily, seriously, we had friends down there.
Yeah.
Because Jed came pulling up in his Cyan and picked me up to then go pick Pete up. So then we could go back. I swear it was a Tacoma. We had the Tacoma.
You're right. We did
Yeah.
have the Tacoma.
We picked up the Tacoma in the trailer and had to go back and pick up both bikes.
Side note,
And-
the Ridgeline was the first year when I had the Honda. The Tacoma was the second year
Yeah.
when we took the two bikes.
Yeah. So we
I'm really glad we figured
Yeah.
that out.
I know.
I know there was
Everybody
this
else is.
there was this suspense that was happening. I'm a little bit pissed.
He's a lot pissed.
I'm a little furious at this
What?
situation.
It's not a big deal to put diesel in an engine, right?
So here's the thing.
Nope.
Here, what we did discover is it's better to put diesel in a gas engine than it is
gas
to put
in a
gas in a
sure.
diesel engine, right? Pete, I don't care what it costs, man. We're going to the dealership of the Harley right now, and they're flushing our tanks. They're doing whatever they have to do this. And he's like, oh my gosh. So it was $427.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
An hour.
$28.
It was $1,800.
No, it was
That's
not that
what.
much. It was not that much.
I swear to God.
No, it was
I
not.
still have the receipts.
No.
I'll pull them out.
Prove it. Notes at the end.
Picture in the show notes. Something.
I promise you, and you want to know why I know that? Because I knew that I fucked up bad. I knew that it was your dad's bike and your bike, and I felt terrible. And I knew how broke I was, so I ended up using a student loan check.
I don't think it was
I
1800.
swear on everything I know, it was over $1,200, and I think it was 18.
All I know is, so my 1200 used to sputter a little bit at certain points because somebody like jetted the carbs themselves. After this, it didn't do that at all.
Yeah.
It was a great tune-up.
No,
The
no way.
The dealership fixed the bikes.
They knew what they were doing.
They did a great job.
Shout out dealership.
Honestly,
Shout out Sarasota Harley Davidson dealership.
$135 an hour, and they had
Woo!
the bikes for 3 days, I think.
Yeah.
Well, you know that.
We had fun regardless.
and
Yeah.
you guys got a great story out of it.
Well, yeah, it's a hilarious story now. At the time, I thought I was going bankrupt. I didn't know how I was going to pay for it. And
Yeah.
in fact, I remember the price because I knew I had to take out an extra student loan to get the money to pay for it.
I was probably an a-hole of a friend.
No, you're fine. It was a terrible thing to do.
I mean,
So-
you've been around cars enough. So
So BP
50% of the Joyride podcast needs to learn the difference between gas and diesel.
Oh, I know it now.
There's a little difference.
Honest to God, how old were we when this happened?
20.
22?
Yeah, maybe.
Because I was getting married that year, right?
Yeah, I wish you guys did a video cast because I would
Listen, the video.
I would show that picture of me and you on the scooters that 1 year versus me and you on our bikes.
Okay, if you can send me the picture of you guys on the scooters, I'll post it to Instagram.
Yeah.
Send it to Pete
You-
or me.
Do you know my grandmother still has that
No,
hanging
she
in her
doesn't.
house? Yes,
Oh,
she
God, I
does.
love her. I
Because-
love her so much.
She's
Oh, my
awesome.
God.
We'll post it to Instagram,
Yeah.
dude. Send it our way.
All right.
We'll put it out there.
Yeah,
I still don't buy gas from BP. Not a joke. Not meant to be funny. These assholes, they put their labels on the left instead of the right. I read it as 93 octane, not diesel. And because they're motorcycle gas tanks, the circumference of the hole for the tank will allow a diesel.
Yeah, they're huge.
Yeah.
yeah.
Where in a
Yeah.
car, you can't make that mistake because the shit won't fit.
Yeah.
So, listen, it was a mistake.
It was a
I made
mistake.
it. I had to live with it. I still am marred
Yeah.
to this day with not knowing what diesel is.
It's a story we will tell when we are 92 years old, sitting on a porch,
Absolutely.
still doing this Joyride podcast. Yeah,
Listen,
is there some sort of schedule that's supposed
We
to
haven't
be
even
going on
asked
right
you
now?
what your first car is.
You all know what my first car was.
No,
It's a car
listen,
podcast, and we talk for motorcycles for 25 fucking minutes.
Listen, you.
No, you.
Everybody-
It's a
no,
Joyride podcast.
It's Joyride.
Do you have joy riding diesel fueled
Absolutely.
motorcycles?
Well,
For about 600 feet.
six seconds, you have a lot of fun.
This felt very anticlimactic of an ending.
That was kind of bad.
It wasn't bad at all. It was fucking hilarious.
My first car was a Honda Del
No,
Sol.
no. Listen, sorry. No. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna tie this episode up with a bow, and then we're gonna get into.
So I get to hang out more.
You're gonna get to stay.
Yes.
So anyway, follow us on Instagram.
Please follow, subscribe, like, listen.
On any platform.
Share,
Thank you.
yeah.
Yes, please spread the word. Thanks for listening, everybody. We really appreciate all our listeners out there.
Send us some questions or comments.
Yeah, hit us up. Contact joyridepod@gmail.com. Send us questions. Send us any sort of arguments you have about
Maybe a
anything we
picture
said.
of your first car.
Oh, absolutely.
We could feature it. All right. That's it. It's another episode.
That's another episode.
Thanks for having me, guys.
We're going to have you back
We're going to have you back for next time. I think.
next week.
next week.
Next week.
Perfect.
Adam will be back.
Set your watch.
Yeah. Thanks so much, guys. Enjoy the ride.
Talk across it, not into it. Sorry. Warming up.
Gotta warm up the old pipes. Tip of the tongue.
Tip it.
Teeth in the lips. Well, you fucking heathen. Of course. It's not gonna work when you do that.
That's why we drink bourbon and not bottled water. Yes. Whoops. Sorry. I just hit the table. That was rule number 1.
Oh, man.
It's gonna get worse. It's gonna get a lot worse.
It really will. It's barrel proof, you brought.
Great time.
God damn it, Peter.
Rule number 1.
He dropped his phone.
Yeah.
Usually, well, I don't know where the other table is. Usually we have a couple of these tables over there. Grab that one right there.
If you go to the other studio room, there's a table.
Hey, Jerry, would you bring Pete a table in, please? He needs a table. Can you bring it, please? Thanks, Jerry. You're
Thanks,
the best. You're the best, bud.
Our assistant still never brought me ice.
Yeah, Jerry.
God damn it, Jerry. Jerry! Jerry! Ice!
What is he doing?
I never know what he's doing.
I don't even know what he does.
I never know.
That guy doesn't earn a cent.
We're gonna have to dog his pay. This is terrible.
This really
We're
came
gonna
off the rails.
Here's the thing.
What's the
We're gonna cut all this.
Shake it out. Shake it out.
You take us out, B, because I've had way too many of these.
Let me see that bottle. It's half gone. So there's 3 of us here. 2 of us are drinking, and the bottle, which was new, is half gone.
Debatable.
Not debatable. That's actually
And it's not normal stuff. Tell them
It's
what's the proof.
barrel proof. 119 is what the label says.
I almost suggested we bring the whiskey war down and not the barrel proof because this kind of creeps up
Am
on
I
you.
am I taking you home?
I'm okay. I mean, we're gonna do it.
We're going to do another episode. It'll be fine.
Okay.
All right. I won't drink in episode 2.
Well, you got enough to make it through episode 2 right there.